Kashtira is likely set to be the next top-tier deck in Master Duel. Even though Fenrir is limited to 2 and it does not have Ariseheart yet, it has all the tools to become a great deck. The deck revolves around XYZ summons. Some of the effects even stop you from summoning anything from the extra deck that isn't an XYZ monster, so you want to go all in on the strategy. The deck special summons a lot of level 7 cards, which means you are going to focus on rank 7 XYZ cards, but it does mean if you normal summon an Ash Blossom alongside one, you can start off with a level 10 Synchro such as Baronne de Fleur. A lot of the Kashtira effects banish your opponent's cards. Your opponent's cards are always banished face down unless specified otherwise. So for the sake of simplifying the card text, just assume the banishes are face down. Fenrir, Ogre, and Unicorn are your main combo starters. All of these can be special summoned if you control no monsters. On summon, they trigger an effect. Unicorn lets you add a Kashtira spell from your deck to your hand, usually Kashtira Theosis. Fenrir adds a Kashtira monster from your deck to your hand, usually Kashtira Riseheart. Ogre adds a Kashtira trap from your deck to your hand, usually Big Bang. These all have an effect that triggers when either you attack with them or an opponent activates a monster effect. Unicorn lets you banish an opponent's extra deck monster. You get to choose. Fenrir lets you banish a face-up card your opponent controls. Ogre lets you excavate the top 5 of their deck and banishes one. If you control a Kashtira monster, you can special summon Kashtira Riseheart from your hand. On summon, you banish one Kashtira card from your deck and the top 3 of your opponent's deck. Kashtira Riseheart becomes level 7. This Kashtira banish effect is important, why we'll get into soon. Scareclaw Kashtira and Tearlament's Kashtira are extenders in this deck. You can special summon them by banishing a Kashtira card from your hand or graveyard. Their other effects of these two aren't relevant if you are learning the deck since you'll XYZ summon them away anyway. However, Scareclaw can attack from defense position, and monsters that get attacked by Kashtira have their effects negated. Tearlaments mills 3 cards on summon of either you or your opponent's deck, and mills 2 if it is sent to the graveyard by a card effect. Our relevant spells are Kashtira Birth, Kashtira Theosis, and the field spell Pressured Planet Wraithsoth. Kashtira Theosis lets you target a Kashtira you control to then special summon one with a different attribute from your deck. Kashtira Birth lets you normal summon a level 7 Kashtira without tributing. It also lets you special summon one of your main deck Kashtira that is in the graveyard or banished. If your opponent activates a spell while this is face up on the field, you get to banish 3 cards in their graveyard. Pressured Planet lets you search and add a Kashtira from your deck to your hand, in most cases Unicorn or Riseheart. It gives your Kashtira an attack and defense boost. Also, if your XYZ Boss Monster Shangri-ira activates an effect, you can destroy a card on the field. Big Bang is important for its effect when it gets banished, usually off Riseheart's effect. It lets you special summon a Kashtira monster attached as a material to one of your Kashtira XYZ monsters. Its normal trap effect can be activated if you control a Kashtira monster and your opponent has 2 or more monsters. The opponent needs to banish monsters until they control 1. Kind of like a weak and slower version of Evenly Matched. Kashtira Preparations lets you special summon one of your banished or in-hand Kashtira monsters. Then if your opponent activates a trap while you control a Kashtira monster, you get to look at their hand and banish a card. I think in Master Duel this card won't see much play. The big boss monster, Shangri-ira, is what it's all about. During the standby phase, you special summon a Kashtira straight from your deck. Then, each time an opponent's card gets banished face down, which happens almost all the time with this deck, you get to lock a main monster or spell and trap zone. As long as Shangri-ira remains on the field, that zone cannot be used. If Shangri-ira would be destroyed, you detach a material instead, making it incredibly difficult to remove. Finally, the second boss monster, Ariseheart. This card can be special summoned if Shangri-ira resolved any of its effects by using one of your face-up Kashtira monsters as the material. Alternatively, you can also summon it with 3 materials. This card makes it so that any card that is sent to the graveyard is banished instead, kind of like a Dark Law or Macrocosmos on a 3000 attack beat stick. Then, If an opponent's card gets banished, you get to add 1 card per chain to Ariseheart. That is right, this material adding effect is not once per turn, it's once per chain. So under normal circumstances, this card will have a lot of materials under it. It does have a once per turn quick effect that lets you detach 3 materials to banish a card face down. As far as Kashtira combos go, your main goal is to get to Shangri-ira as soon as possible, usually with the help of Kashtira Theosis for the extra body, but in a pinch, you can use Scareclaw Kashtira and Tearlament's Kashtira's summon effect to get it on the field. Once Shangri-ira is on the field, you want to special summon Riseheart and trigger its banish effect to start locking zones. With Riseheart, you can banish Big Bang to special summon one of your Shangri-ira's materials to your field, which then lets you overlay into another rank 7. Until we get a Riseheart in Master Duel, I think Diablosis is going to be an example of a great rank 7 to go into, because it lets you banish a card in your opponent's extra deck, which will then trigger Shangri-ira's zone lock, but it also lets you banish a card from the opponent's graveyard when this destroys a monster in battle, triggering Shangri-ira again. If an opponent's card is banished face down, which pretty much every banish effect in this deck does, you get to banish cards off the top of their deck equal to the number of face-down cards they already have. You can mill their entire deck this way with relative ease. Big Eye is another card I'll be playing myself. This one lets you take control of an opponent's card. You will keep control of it even if Big Eye is removed from the field. There are plenty of options. Just have a look at what other top players are playing at this point in time for inspiration. If you are looking to counter Kashtira, Book of Moon and Book of Eclipse is extremely good against them. Once Shangri-ira is forced face down, their strategy falls apart because your locked zones open up and they don't have much negation. Cards that tribute like kaijus are also great to spot remove Shangri-ira or Ariseheart. And then there is Nibiru. Kashtira tends to do more than 5 summons a turn, so Nibiru can very efficiently cripple their strategy. Either way, I hope today's video was useful to you. This deck is surprisingly easy to play, and I imagine your strategic cogs are already turning thinking of combos with the various search effects. The deck is going to be a very strong contender even if we don't get a Riseheart straight away. If you got this far into the video, would you be as kind as helping me by liking the video and leaving a comment? Creating quality Yu-Gi-Oh content takes a lot of time and effort. As an underdog channel, I need all the support I can get to be able to rise to the top of the algorithm. If you have any questions or video requests, feel free to leave them in the comments. I do keep track of all requests to give you the best content. Anyway, that's all from me for today. Thank you for watching, and while you are here, why not check out one of these 2 videos?